Yes.
That's better. Hi, this is Joseph Cobbs again. This is Module 8, Unit 10. And this is the one where we were going to work on some PD. And because I was on break, and I didn't realize that, I didn't have a chance to do PD, but I made a video already of me talking about this book. I know everything's backwards on my camera, sorry about that. But it's the one on 120 strategies for English language learners. And I read through this, I made a video of that. I've made 3 videos, I haven't combined them all yet, but Rick's looked at some of the video. And what I'm going to do in this, the teaching video, is actually I'm going to do the strategy of slowing down my speech and pausing after every important sentence to give them time to think about the talk, pace and pause. And I also used a little bit of rising and falling of the intonation on important words like photosynthesis, something like that. Mm-hmm. And anyways, I used a few different strategies, 4 or 5, trying to help my students because a lot of them are English language learners. And Rick's going to talk about how I did in that process in this new video. Mr. Rick.
Yes. The pace is completely, much better, much more, just exactly what you were trying to do worked, I think. You're more deliberate and you weren't afraid to pause, you weren't afraid to be quiet for periods of time. At the same time, you could also work in, more questions that you let them answer rather than jumping to the next thing, although you're trying to cover this entire topic in a review.
For the test.
So you're trying to, you can't afford to, wait and wait and wait, but at the same time, you might want to prompt them more with questions and wait for their answers, because they're happy just being quiet. They're happy just sitting there and soaking it in. But, I think they need to be coaxed out of that a little bit, because I think it would be more effective in some ways. But still, regardless, you covered it beautifully, and you had really good illustrations, and you spent time on them, plenty of time. People had time to absorb what you were doing, and if they wanted to ask questions, there was time for them to, they could easily ask if they wanted to. You weren't hurrying your words, and you emphasized, the certain words almost to the
vocabulary,
to the point of being silly, but it was that's fine, because that gets their attention, something different, So yeah, when you change your tone for a particular term or word, or repeat it more than once, then it really comes home that, oh, okay, this is important. And you mentioned that this was supposed to be, you were originally supposed to do a PD or something.
Well, no, she wanted to see what you were doing to try to make yourself a better teacher. What are ways are you learning? Like, what are you doing for professional development? And obviously, it wasn't time, because we already had the one trip plan to fly somewhere and get professional development. And so instead of doing that, I was working on, you can do professional development by taking an internet class. You can read a book. And so I read a book, and I picked some strategies out of that, and I was trying to implement those strategies in this lesson. Unfortunately, it was the last time I get to meet with these students before the big test coming up, so I had to try to cover everything in the test, but still go slow, and add these new strategies for ELL learners.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot to do in a class, that's for sure. But again, I thought it was good, and the fact that you are doing PD, that we do this kind of thing here at the school. This is every so often, every month or so, we will have a meeting after school, and we'll talk about some particular
Yeah.
use of a strategy.
Yeah, with
and
the
then-
principal and Ben and all the English language learner teachers, Ben,
And then we'll have
and
to
Beth
talk
and-
about it.
yeah. So we're doing a couple
what,
hours
what
every
we
month.
did, how it worked,
A
and
PD,
anything you might want to do differently. So yeah, we do have PD, and we have other bigger. That's a routine sort of a PD, but we also have other sort of workshops that we'll spend a whole day on, and like a professional development day, and you get a certificate for that.
Yeah, we
You know,
did a
so,
few of those this
yeah,
year. Yeah.
Yeah, so you get that too. So
And-
yeah, they're pretty on top of. They're on us. They're watching us.
And I requested the thing for the thing coming up in Singapore, and there's one coming up in Ho Chi Minh or something in Vietnam. There's 2 seminars I'm looking at going at next September.
For what are they for? I'm curious.
They're professional development seminars.
What's the topic?
They're more just like generalized things. Scott said I should probably get one that's more specific for the science department.
Yeah.
That I could come back and give you guys, I could
Yeah.
share my knowledge with you guys. So I've been I talked about that when I was back from break with Scott for a couple hours
Good.
about what to do about PD. So I'm trying to get something scheduled for September,
Yeah, yeah.
early in the
And,
year
then
or October.
If the school pays for it, they
Or pay
expect
for
you.
part of it.
Yeah, well, yeah, part of it. They expect you to then come back and
And teach it.
present that
Yeah.
in a seminar
Exactly.
to the school. Or we usually have like 3 different presentations going on at the same time, so people have to make choices of maybe 2 or 3 different ones.
Yeah, we
that are
did that
going
about a
on.
month ago or
Yeah,
so. I went
yeah.
to one of Mr. Scott's, and
Yeah.
I can't remember Mrs. Kelsey's, and I went to a couple.
Yeah, so that, we're being watched, and we're getting feedback, and we're getting some outside views of things, and from other subject areas, and so it isn't just the science people that we're hearing from, and that's good. And also recently you were supposed to observe a female.
Yeah, I'm watching 3 different females. I'm watching Miss Kelsey and Miss Oreen. What's her last name? I forget.
Uri.
Not Oreen. Umi Kim.
Oh, Yumi.
Yumi Kim.
Yumi.
Yumi Kim. And I've watched her, and I got to watch Mark's wife, the Russian.
Kelsey.
Not
Oh,
Kelsey.
oh.
The other Mark.
Friedman.
Katya. So I've got to watch Katya, Kelsey, and Umi, and I'm going to do that. Continue that this week. Every
Curious.
week I'm going to be doing that.
Yeah, that's good. I'm curious
So-
too, because I don't get a chance to do that very often. The
Yeah.
other day I did, but yeah, it's nice to see an outside view of not just science, but teaching in general. But yeah, so I think you're definitely you've recognized the need to slow things down and appeal to these second language learners, and the strategies that you used, I thought, were very, very clear and apparent in this last little session you did. So I think that's a big step, really. I mean, big difference. You're much more deliberate and conscious of what you're saying, and how to pause, and how to wait, and how to, but I would also encourage them, pull them out a little bit.
Yeah.
Pull them out.
Well, I did something also you didn't see because we're a timing here because we're trying to get this video in. It's the end of the day. We got a lot going on. But you didn't see I had Bruce and some of these other students at Flash. I was having them actually repeat after me. I was saying, because I said, what is an antigen? What does the pathogen do to the antigen? And I was making the whole class say it out loud. Because when I first started talking about antigens, this was actually a couple classes ago, but they didn't get it, And so I found that if it's a new word, if I make them say it, like I was having to say alveoli, 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 if I have them all say it out loud a few times, it kind of gets it in more.
Sure.
So that's another little strategy. And I think I've heard you do that. I think I've seen you do that. So I think that's where I got that strategy, not from the book, but actually from you, which I think it's great. It works, for them to say the word a few times and make sure they're pronouncing it correctly.
Yeah.
And they kind of own it more. Once they've said it out loud, the whole class has repeated it.
Yep.
They kind of understand it and own it more. So
Yep.
that's another strategy
Yeah.
I'm working on. Okay. Well, thank you for your time. I know we got to rush out here, catch our bus and everything. So that's it for this week. Talk to you later.